speaker and, someone that's out there in the public, you would think, you get over that stuff and just not worry about it. And especially as a guy, right? Seems kind of, I don't know how many guys actually admit to this. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Ripple Effect Podcast. I am your host, Steve Harper, and I want to talk to you today. It's going to be a short episode. It's been a while since it's just been me and you. I'm recording this for YouTube. If you're not currently subscribed, please search me up on the YouTubes and subscribe and like the videos. And, of course, share the videos. Encourage your friends, your family, complete strangers to subscribe to my YouTube. It would be so great if you did that. Just search up Steve Harper, The Ripple Effect. You're going to find me. Got the page. You'll see my mug there, which actually, I was actually going to say ugly mug. That's kind of what I want to talk about today, but we'll get into that here in just a second. I have been so appreciative of everybody's super support on the podcast, whether you're tuning in via the various podcast platforms or you happen to catch the replay of these videos on YouTube, Facebook, wherever they happen to be showing up. I guess in some cases, LinkedIn. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for just being here, showing up, showing your support, reaching out, saying, hey, look, I'm really enjoying the episodes that you've been doing where you're interviewing. I've had a few people that are like, hey, when are you going to do an episode by yourself? Because I kind of like just hearing you sometimes, which I greatly, greatly appreciate. Hard to believe that you'd want that, honestly. But nevertheless, that's what today is. This is an episode just between you and me. And I got to be honest with you, I'm having a little bit of a rough time, some down time. I went today to record some videos for our new website that we're doing for my software company. And, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm very insecure, self-conscious, if you will. And just to turn on this camera and actually do the video for this podcast, if you're listening, you're like, hey, great, don't have to see your face. I do the video to push myself because I am not naturally comfortable on camera. I'm not super thrilled or excited about how I look. And in fact, I actually have a fair amount of, how should I say it? Self-hatred. And I thought it might be appropriate to share this. It's actually been something that's been kicking around my mind for a while to maybe do an episode on because I know that I'm not the only one, right? So I'm 50 years old. I'm a little heavier than I want to be. I work out constantly, but it's a struggle. I come from genes that, DNA that come from, the old heredity gene pool that's not super kind to me. And I already have so much self-consciousness about just, my looks in general. And it's been a struggle for me all this time. And then today we were doing these videos for the company and doing wardrobe changes and all this stuff. And I'm feeling pretty good. And then I saw some pictures that people took of the event and I'm like, oh my God, dude. I have, I don't know what it is, you hear about people that really struggle with this. And I suppose I always have, right? I am been always one of these people that is it's not vanity. It's certainly not that. It is, I've never liked the look of my face, my nose. It's been broken multiple times. I got this weird thingamajiggy here. People ask me, are you like related to Drew Brees because you got this birthmark thing here? And it's like, no, it's just, I won the lottery relative to these weird spots that come up. It's kind of consistent with how my siblings, got theirs and I've got them. My grandparents had them. I suppose my parents to a degree had them, but it's a thing that bothers me. And I guess to be perfectly blunt and honest, as a professional speaker and someone that's out there in the public, you would think, you get over that stuff and just not worry about it. And especially as a guy, right? Seems kind of, I don't know how many guys actually admit to this. And I will tell you that there is a fair amount of frustration on my part. I've been working out like a madman, and then I go and I weigh in and I'm like, well, the weight that I thought I was taking off, I actually put on in muscle, which is great. I'm stronger and more athletic. And of course, I play soccer a couple times a week, and all that, is, keeping me in shape, but I'm not losing any weight, not getting thinner in the face, not getting thinner in the body. It bothers me. And when I see myself on video, it breaks my heart a little bit, right? I don't feel like I'm the best physical representation of my brand or for my company, most importantly for my company, right? I'm embarrassed because I don't want to be that guy. And not that I felt like I was ever going to be Ryan Reynolds, or anybody like that, or, I certainly know my limits, right? But at the end of the day, it is something that has always been concerning to me. And then when I saw it today, it just welled up so much. Like I literally came back to the office and I'm like, oh my God, we should have had a stand-in. We should have had somebody other than me be out there as the front man representing the company. And I know it's a little bit cathartic to share this with you because, everybody sees the positive of what I do and how I do it out there in the world, but I really struggle in a lot of ways. I'm insecure when I go to the gym. I'm not super happy when I'm running down the soccer field because I just look like that, that dad bod. And, and I know I'm characterizing this in a way that probably seems like I'm having a pity party for myself, but it is something that compromises me. It is something that really bothers me. And there's a fair amount of self-loathing and self-hate that really today just kind of like went over the top. And, I don't know exactly how to get over that, right? So, I have had some health issues that lead to some of these conditions. Some of it's hereditary. Some of it's of my own doing. Make poor choices. I drink some beer or sometimes a lot of beer. And it seems like if I could drink a beer, it puts on 5 pounds on my body, like nobody's business. And, it's funny because I think, when you get to a certain age, you have, you think you could get over those things that made you insecure as a kid or as a teenager. And for me, at least, it's magnified the older I get and the less satisfied and happy I am. And yes, there are steps I could take to make it better, right? Could go get a trainer. I could, eat nothing but salads until I lose a bunch of weight or whatever, right? But even when I was at my thinnest, getting on camera, doing anything along that lines, getting my picture taken, just has been super hard for me. And I don't like it. I don't like the way I look. I don't like my physical appearance. And I don't feel like I'm a particularly attractive individual in any way, shape, or form. And I'm not saying this to troll for compliments or, oh, you're crazy, blah, blah, blah. I'm literally being honest with you. And I think it's one of those things that a lot of men probably struggle with, but don't actually verbalize. I think women go through it a lot. I know I've seen it with, my wife, has gone through bouts of this. I've got good friends that are females that have gone through this. And, you look at them and you're like, oh my God, what are you talking about? Like, I think my wife is beautiful, absolutely incredibly gorgeous, but she goes through these ups and downs. And maybe it's natural for all of us, right? But it's hard when you're supposed to be the public face of something, right? I'm the public face of Ripple. I'm the public face of Owner Insight and Facility Insight, my other 2 software companies. And here I am feeling the least amount of confidence. And what I recognized is we were going through these things today, and I was trying to put these ideas and synthesize the concepts into, good sound bites, deliver good content. The entire time in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my God, you probably look 30 pounds heavier than you should. And that doesn't seem right. It's not healthy. It doesn't feel good. And, I don't know. I don't feel really great sharing it. But then I also thought, if I didn't share this at one of my lowest points, emotionally, I wonder, if I would ever share it. And so I don't know if anybody else out there has that thought or goes through those challenges. I know women, the pressure for you always to look good and do, always looking to up your game physically it's a constant pressure and a challenge. And I don't know how you deal with it, but, I know these thoughts never leave my mind. And then, when I go through these bouts, I want to call them slight bouts of depression. I'll be like, oh, you did so good. You had these consecutive workouts, you're feeling good, you're feeling stronger. And then something happens at work or something irritates me. And then I turn to grab a beer or, grab a Twinkie or a handful of Oreos out of the cabinet. And then ultimately at the end, I'm like, the self-loathing just is just magnified. And I share this because I think, there may be other people that are having this struggle and having this problem. And, I don't know what the answer is. I could certainly tell you from a professional coach perspective, if a client was talking to me in this capacity, I'd certainly try and take steps to help them, walk that line as to how to get the best professional help. And I'm certainly not saying that I need it, but I'm also not saying I don't necessarily need it. I'm self-diagnosing as we speak, I think. But at the end of the day, when does it seem appropriate to address these things? When does it seem appropriate to bring this ugly topic of self-image out and then kind of look at it? I was on conversations with Asha and Steve the other day, and we were talking with my friend Dr. Asha Prasad, who's just amazing. But we were talking about things that, sort of what you think you actually end up being or doing. And what I was thinking the whole time as we were on there, yet I didn't say it necessarily, was, I think I'm a big old tubaloo. And, I have no business being on camera. I have no business doing a video. I have no business being the physical front of our companies because I'm not comfortable with myself. I'm not happy with myself. So how could I possibly exude any confidence or, just be that brand ambassador? And so as I was driving back to the office today, I was thinking to myself, man, this is like really crappy. This doesn't feel good. And it doesn't support me as to where I want to go. There are a variety of ways you could take this topic, right? Well, Steve, if you're not feeling good physically, you need to go take steps to get there, right? Figure out how to, do a better diet, figure out how to stay away from things that, don't do well with your system. You have some underlying health conditions, so some things are certainly magnified. And so stay away from those things, right? It's as easy as that. Well, not so much, right? Then the other flip side of that could be, well, this is the way it is, man. Just lean into it. Just embrace it. Don't care what other people think. And I really actually have overcome that, right? Sometime probably mid-pandemic was when Dr. Asha made me get on video and said, we're going to start doing our podcast. That's another show, Conversations with Asha and Steve, just a plug there for you. She said, why don't we start doing this as live stream? And I was like, oh my God. I don't think I told her that, but I was like thinking the whole time, like, oh my God, that would be horrible. One, I don't like speaking just off the cuff, although I do it all the time. Two, I don't think anybody's going to want to watch me. And I might like actually turn, viewers and listeners off, right? And yet, somehow I pushed through and somehow I decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to face that fear and overcome it. And like I said, we had this episode the other day where we were talking about things where you kind of pull them out of the dark and you shine the light on them. And then you realize they're not so scary. So then you kind of fast forward and be like, well, Steve, you were getting on video. You've been doing a lot of videos. I see you on. And you seem to have overcome that. And I think I have to a certain degree. Yeah. You also recognize you're never going to be Ryan Reynolds or Daniel Craig or any of these people. So that's okay. So what the hell do you have to worry about? Why are you complaining? And I think probably I was like trying to get myself over that hump today as I drove back to the office, thinking about like, gosh, can't believe just how off on that video a couple of times I was, because I was thinking not about the answers to the questions that were being posed to me, but man, gosh, I hope I like sucked in my gut enough. I'm hoping that my double chin doesn't show, and I'm hoping that I don't look like just a complete tubaloo. And, totally detract from what, the intent of the videos are that we're cutting. And I'm like, man, that really, that's just not healthy, just not good, right? And so I decided really at the end of the day that, I was going to be okay, and I was going to come back and, give myself a break a little bit. And then I walked in and Josh had finished up a video that I had done just a couple of weeks ago on referrals. And I had done it when I was in Albuquerque. So I was at our rent house and, no big set, nothing, right? So I just did it. And then I realized, man, oh my God, the whole time I'm not even listening to the content of the video. I'm just like, oh my God, your head is enormous. And I know that is horrible, right? And I know it's not right. And I know that, I need to be better to myself. And I don't know how it is. This goes all the way back to adolescence, where I never felt like I was, never felt like I belonged, never felt like I fit in. And I know there are people that have it way, way worse than I do. And I do not want to diminish or take away from that ever. But I will say that, for someone like me that seemingly has everything together, it's amazing how not together I really am in a lot of ways. And I think actually the first step to solving that problem for myself is sort of admitting that publicly here, right here. I'm looking at the camera, facing my fear, saying, hey, look, this is the way it is. And yes, there can be some decisions that I can make to make lifestyle changes that'll be a little better for me. But I may be stuck with this. In fact, I'm stuck with this. For those of you listening on the podcast, I'm pointing at my face. I can't change it. I can't alter it. I can't do anything. And I remember going to the dermatologist, actually, I want to say I went earlier this year, might have been at the lab, whenever we started getting back to somewhat normal from COVID. So it must've been earlier this year. And I had asked the dermatologist about this thing on my face and, is there anything that could be done? And she said, you asked that the last time that you were here. And she's like, we could attempt to do a little procedure to try and, see if we can, regenerate those skin cells. But, it could get worse, and we kind of burn it or whatever. And I think we tried it the last time, the prior time I'd visited, and it did get worse. And I'm like, I don't want to do that, right? Already kind of, this self-loathing thing is like, you're already ugly enough. Don't go messing with it. You could be a lot uglier. And so I was thinking back to that. And I was like, oh my gosh, there isn't anything that you could really do to change that. But then thinking as I pushed record today, would I want anything different? Is what I have and what's before you, if I was something else, then would I really be me? And the answer is I don't know. I would like to be one of those devilishly handsome individuals that people get taken with just because of their core energy and enthusiasm. But then you wouldn't see these weird, funky expressions that I tend to make because I would not be that person. I'd be something else. And this is the body type that I've been given. At 50 years old, I'm in the best shape of my life, literally best shape of my life from a strength perspective and endurance perspective. And I should have zero complaints in that department. And yet here today, I'm revealing as we speak that those moments of self-loathing and self-hatred still bubble up. So here's the thing. It's impossible for anybody else to love you if you don't love yourself first. And I think to a certain degree that I need to pull my head out of my, lower region and start recognizing that this is my reality. This is what it is. And stop comparing myself to everybody else out there. Stop looking so deeply in the mirror for my flaws and start paying attention to the things that are positive. My weird, funky faces, that could be one. Maybe not. It could scare people off. I could be, just content and happy. And I don't know what that would feel like, But until we got to talking today, until I shared this with you, I really hadn't contemplated it. And I'm going to call it 40 years, 50. So I'll tell you when my body, my self-confidence started to be impugned around age 10. It's a long time to have that weight on your shoulders and dealing with it. And maybe I'm unique here. Maybe I'm one of those few birds that, just not everybody feels this way, but I've got to think that I'm probably feeling it, feeling these feelings, and a lot of people feel something similar. And I don't know, I just feel like a little bit of a hypocrite if I'm telling you to feel good about yourself because you are awesome and you are amazing. And yet when the camera goes off and in the morning mirror and the evening mirror, and I look at myself and like, dude, why do you even push record? Why do you even get on camera? Probably scaring off your audience. That stuff is not healthy. And so, I don't know, I guess the whole point of today's episode was really to just come mea culpa, right? About these things that I'm dealing with and I'm struggling with. And I'm wondering if anybody else is out there as well. And what we can do collectively to get over that, right? Because at the end of the day, what's our choice? I can go another 40 years not feeling good about myself, and I don't want to do that. I could, collectively stop, recording. I could stop, putting myself on camera, but that doesn't do any good. I got important things I want to share with the world. There are important messages I want to put out there. And it isn't like I show up on a keynote stage and people go running for the hills. I've yet to have that happen. At least I haven't seen them run for the hills. So the message and the content and everything that I generally deliver is on point. So no matter what I think of myself, I seem to be able to overcome what I perceive other people's thoughts are on my appearance. So that might be super positive as well. Maybe it's best for me to start hanging my hat on the positives, on the really good things that I can feel good about and I can start being proud of. I don't know. I just, felt like this was a situation and an opportunity for us to have a really open and honest conversation. And when these videos come out in a few weeks and our new website is launched for my software company, maybe I just need to cut myself a break and go, dude, you just did the best job you could and you looked really good. You put yourself out there and, a lot of people can't do that and a lot of people wouldn't do that. And, give yourself a break on the appearance because you are your own worst critic. And I am a harsh mofo when it comes to being a critic of myself. But I'm just curious if anybody else out there is having this challenge. Maybe we can be support buddies. When I'm feeling low and bummed out, I'll reach out to you. And when you're feeling low and bummed out, you can reach out to me. And maybe we can get through this together. What do you think? I don't know. Anyway, that was what was on my mind and my thoughts, clearly on my face today. If you're tuning in to YouTube, again, I would really appreciate if you would throw a like on the episode if you happen to benefit from this in any way. I would love it if you'd leave a comment. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me in all complete honest truth what you think of this topic. If it was too much, if I shared too much, I was a little too open and raw. I'd like to know that too. If there's any topics or ideas you'd like me to have on a future podcast episode or video, I'd be happy to do that as well. And if you're listening to this on the podcast and you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about, Steve, with this YouTube stuff, search me up, Steve Harper, The Ripple Effect. You'll find my YouTube channel. There is gobs of videos that I won't go back and I won't watch because I don't like seeing myself on camera that much. But I am assured by my son who's helping me with my editing. Thank you, Josh. You've done a phenomenal job. Thank you, Zach, for doing my great intros. You guys always are my biggest fans and always my best support. And you tell me that the content I'm putting out there is valuable. I'm so grateful because I am fearful to even look at the videos after they go up, to be honest with you, because sometimes those inner demons, man, they are a very strong pull in the wrong direction. So, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate you listening to me ramble about this. And I would be open to and happy to converse with anyone and everyone out there that might be facing something similar, some similar challenges. Oh, by the way, you might be hearing this because I was kind of nervous about, talking. So I'm just fidget spinning. That's what I'm doing. I do that every single time I get uncomfortable. I just do. So anyway, thanks as always for tuning into the Ripple Effect podcast. I'll be back very soon with another topic that won't be such a downer. I promise. And new interviews coming. I got some really cool people coming up to finish out the year. And we'll be getting back to the Ripple concept. We'll be getting back to talk about the third edition of the book. Have you picked your copy up yet? RippleCentral.com is where you pick it up, and I can get it autographed. If you get those books on order from Amazon, they don't get autographed. But, we're happy to get the rippling out there to you in whatever capacity you might like it. It's also on Kindle, and it is on Audible. So if you don't mind this hideous voice speaking at you a little bit more, be sure to get the Audible book, because put in a few little zingers, a few special things that I share in the audiobook that did not make it into the print edition. So there you go, right? So if you do have the print edition, you're going to want the audiobook to accompany it. And then you have me. It's like you're reading it, and then you're having me read it to you. And then when I go off script, you'll be like, that's what he was talking about. I got it now. Anyway, RippleCentral.com for the book. If you want it autographed, can't autograph the audiobook, but you can find it on Audible.com. An Amazon company, I must say. Jeff Bezos would like it if you would order either option. Actually, he would love it if you ordered all those options and multiplied that by 5 to your 5 greatest and closest friends. There you go. He's got spaceships to build and pay for, apparently. Until next time, my friends, as always, go out there, do good in the world. Give yourself a little bit of a break when you look in the mirror. Maybe, Steve, I'm just talking to you. And ripple on.